In this lesson, we will clean up our model, and we'll also use the muscle we built to set up the character's spine. So guess what? We're ready to begin rigging our character. Now, before we jump in and add, let's say, bones, or in this case, our muscle system, before we do all of that, we first want to clean up the transform data of our mesh. If we do not do that, we can run into weird deformation issues like skewing. So we basically have to reset all of the transforms. Now, what I like to do is go ahead and grab the entire character. Then I'd like to go ahead and head over to the Utilities tab and use Reset Xform. But the problem with that is we would then want to collapse all of that down. And that's not necessarily an issue because that's going to clear out the Xform modifier that gets added. The problem is we currently have Turbo Smooth nodes across the entire character. Let's go ahead and have a close look at the face. Let me go ahead and show you the issue here. Right now, Isoline Display is on, which is great because it allows us to see the low-res form of the geometry, but it still gives us a high-quality look. It's a very smooth look. Now, if we were to go ahead and turn this off, we actually see the true resolution of our mesh. So take a look at how many points we'd have to deal with. Now watch this. Let's go ahead and turn back on Isoline Display. We'll then go ahead and right-click on our Turbo Smooth node and choose Collapse To, and then click Yes. You'll notice that everything looks fine, right? But watch what happens when we go to our vertex of object level. Now we have several points that don't have connecting edges. So this, of course, is a problem, especially for dealing with textures, because we would notice this weird distorted look. So let's prevent that from happening, right? I'll go ahead and undo back to bring back the Turbo Smooth node. We could actually use MaxScript to get rid of all of these Turbo Smooth modifiers on the entire model. So that'll help us save some time, right? Let's go ahead and head down to our listener window, the bottom left-hand corner of 3ds Max. We'll choose Open after right-clicking. And now let's go ahead and turn on our macro recorder. So this is going to record any history that we might end up with as we start to work through certain properties and set certain options in 3ds Max. So watch this. If we were to go in and trash the Turbo Smooth modifier, we now have the history that we can use to remove it across the entire model. Let's go ahead and highlight our history, copy, and then paste. Next, let's go ahead and get rid of Singer_head so that we don't necessarily specify what modifier we're trying to remove on that exact object. We just want to remove that Turbo Smooth node across the entire model, right? So we won't specify the model that we're trying to edit here. So again, we just want to leave the $sign. Nice. Now let's go ahead and undo back to bring back the Turbo Smooth node, because if we do not, and we try to highlight everything and run the code, it's going to crash when it gets to the face because it's looking for this modifier, but it will not be able to find it. Alright, great. So now we can go ahead and grab the entire model. We're ready to go ahead and highlight our code and hit enter on our number pad. And take a look, everything is now low res. The Turbo Smooth node has been removed. Very cool. Gotta love scripting. It helps us save a lot of time. At this point, I might go ahead and turn off the macro recorder. No need to have it on now. We can go ahead and grab the entire character, head over to our Utilities tab. We can go to Reset Xform, Reset Selected. Nice. Once we've done that, we can then go ahead and collapse our model. Because again, we have this Xform modifier to deal with, and what this does is it holds all of the old transform data. So we don't need any of that, right? Let's go ahead and clear it out. Grab our model, we'll head over to our Utilities tab underneath Collapse. We'll make sure that we use Modifier Stack Result as our output type, so the mesh will remain an editable poly. Let's go ahead and choose Collapse. Now let's go ahead and test this out. So when we grab our geometry, take a look, everything is still an editable poly, and we don't have the Xform modifier to deal with. Great. Now we can go ahead and grab all geometry, alt right click and use freeze transform. That way this will be our new 0 position. Great. Guess what? It's time to import in the muscle. Let's go ahead and head over to our file menu, import merge. Let's go ahead and search for our import folder. There it is. And we'll go ahead and grab the muscle object. Let's go ahead and choose open. We'll now click on all to grab everything and choose OK. Sweet. Next, let's go ahead and start renaming things. We'll start by renaming the muscle's hidden layer. So we'll just go ahead and give that a prefix of spine. We'll hit enter. Let's go ahead and take a look. Now you can see here with layers, it's actually going to rename the objects within the layer as we rename the layers here in 3ds Max. But to prevent that from happening, all we need to do is go ahead and undo back, and you can see all objects will revert back to the name they had previously, but we still have the name of our layer. So let's go ahead and do the same thing for the main layer. So that's muscle main. We'll go ahead and add the prefix spine. I'll hit enter. Let's go ahead and take a look. Again, everything's been renamed. Let's go ahead and press Ctrl Z to undo back, and we're good to go. Sweet. Now, we're basically ready to rename all of the objects here that are tied to our muscle system. So here's what we can do. We can actually switch from our layer manager to the Scene Explorer. So we can do that from here, or if you'd like, you can go ahead and access the Scene Explorer from your Tools menu. Either way, let's go ahead and now search for our muscle objects at the top. We'll go ahead and type in muscle. Sweet. So you can see everything is highlighted now. Once we've done that, we can then head over to Tools, and we'll move down to Rename Objects. Getting closer, there it is. So all we need to do is go ahead and change the prefix here, right? Let's go ahead and check prefix. We'll uncheck base name, and our prefix will be spine underscore. So now we can choose rename and take a look. All of those items have been renamed. Very nice. So at this point, we can go ahead and grab the muscle's global node, and let's go ahead and move this up. We're going to place it inside of the spine. Let's go ahead and press F3 so we can have a look at things in wireframe mode. We'll now go ahead and grab our scaling tool, and we'll go ahead and bring down the size of our muscle object so it fits nicely inside of the torso. All right, very cool. I might go ahead and move it forward just a bit. I'm looking at where it lines up with the pelvis and chest. So from here, we might want to scale it down just a little bit more. Great. I think that'll work out well. Keep in mind we want to take a look at our edge flow just to make sure that we are placing these objects in the right spot. Because if we do not, as we start to deform, we'll notice that things are off. So be really careful about that. I think that this is going to work out very well. Sweet, so that's going to finish up this lesson then. In the next lesson, we'll work on adding a global control.